What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. So we're here. We're going to be talking about Tottenham in this video. We're also going to be talking about Chelsea's upcoming fixture list in the month of March and what needs to happen during that month of March, with Champions League football returning in that month for Chelsea and the insane Premier League fixtures that they have coming up. It is very important to see where this team is mentally and where the competitiveness where it has gone over the past two games. Also, speaking on Spurs and where they're going from here, they lost to Arsenal yesterday 4-1, and we have a lot of interesting things to talk about in the fallout from that game. Also, with the World Cup coming up in the summertime, something insane, something crazy happened down in Mexico yesterday, and it's putting a lot of risk on the safety of a lot of people going and that want to attend the World Cup down in Mexico and the United States. And Canada cannot be the only country that could actually physically host it. So if you like these kind of videos, you like getting involved about soccer, sports, any kind of discussions like this, drop a like, comment, get engaged. I appreciate everybody watching my shorts. I love the engagement. I love the likes, all that stuff. Keep on doing that. Subscribe if you haven't. I upload every day with shorts. I do videos every once in a while. So without further ado, let's get started in talking about Tottenham Hotspur and why they deserve to go down if that is really their fate at the end of the season. So the North London derby happened yesterday, and it was probably one of the biggest North London derbies in recent memory, given the position that both teams are in. Arsenal at the top of the league, trying to extend their lead to 5 points to stave off Man City. Meanwhile, on the other end of the table, Tottenham, sitting 16th in the Premier League, needed to get something out of this game to push them further away from the relegation zone. And the problem now that they face is it's another defeat at home. And it's not just any kind of loss here. It's you're getting ripped apart by your greatest rival that is in the same vicinity as you guys. And you have a new manager. You expect a new manager bounce. You expect the players to feel more freedom. And it turned into a shit show of a performance in the second half. Yes, they created a few chances, but are we going to really allow that to be, a moral victory in a game where they had to play well for 90 minutes to have a chance? Victor Gyökeres looked like the 60, 70 million euro striker that Arsenal paid for yesterday. Both finishes that he had yesterday were exceptional. That's what you want from a ruthless center forward, right? Now, people are going to be talking about the push on Gabriel. Was it a foul? Was it not a foul? I spoke in my shorts about how, yes, I feel like it was a flop, but at the end of the day, when you have a reputation of being that great defensively and you're that strong in the air, you're going to get the benefit of the doubt from the referees. Now, the referee wasn't that great yesterday, but are any referees in the Premier League great? I think the only decent referee that we have in the Prem, it's really hard to pick one out because they all have their flaws, but Michael Oliver is the only referee, in my opinion, that actually can call a legit game straight up without having any issues, because the players respect him and the players know that he goes for both sides. Peter Banks, I'm not saying he's biased. What I'm saying is he misses calls all the time. He misses calls when they're blatantly obvious. This was a blatant flop by Gabriel. But it's like I said, when you're one of the best center backs in Europe and you have a fantastic partnership with your other center back, you're going to get away with a lot of stuff. So I don't want to hear any more about was it a foul or isn't a foul. Tottenham lost because they're shit, bro. Tottenham lost because there's no motivation from these players to actually want to go get their result. I'm going to pull up a clip here from the game where it shows Mickey Van de Ven, right? Let me go ahead and pull this up real quick. It shows Mickey Van de Ven, right? He's over here getting instructions from Igor Tudor, but watch what happens, right? He's over here Now, it didn't show the first 2 or 3 seconds, but it'll loop back around. He's over here trying to get him to look at the tactics. He's trying to give him instructions. But as the first game, as the captain, like this is not a good look. This is not a good way to show your manager. Look, you see right here, he's asking him to push up. Maybe he doesn't hear him. It's loud. You're on the pitch. It is what it is, right? But when you're the captain of the football club, right, you're not supposed to be ignoring your manager. The captain is the manager on the pitch, is the coach on the pitch to relay information that the head coach or the manager is trying to get out to the team. The fact that one of the better central defenders in the league isn't taking to what Tudor is saying, this is just a bad sign for Tottenham in general. You lose 4-1 to Arsenal. I don't know who they play next. I can probably pull it up right now to see who do Tottenham play next in the Premier League, right? And if we take a look at their fixtures list, right, I know Chelsea played them towards the end of the season. I think it's like the second or third game of the season. If I can actually pull this thing up, man, it's taking forever. Looks like they play on Sunday. They travel to Fulham on Sunday, right? They travel to Fulham on Sunday. They host Palace at the Lane. Then they go to Liverpool. And probably a true 6-pointer between Spurs and Forest in the game before the international break. Then they go to Sunderland, Brighton, Wolves away. And then they have Aston Villa away, Leeds, Chelsea away at the Bridge, the second to last game of the season, and Everton at home. So Spurs have a possibility here now of that final game of the season against Everton may be a game where they may need 3 points to stay in the league. This is how bad they have been. And at home, especially where they built the new stadium, right? You want to get asses in the seats. You want fans to go there and support the team. They're not going to keep going to these games if Tottenham aren't going to put in an effort at home, man. And there's another thing here I want to speak on when it comes to Igor Tudor and his thing, what he said after, right? This is the most damning thing about this team right now. Ange Postecoglou said it a few weeks ago about the antithesis of what Tottenham are. They're not a real football club. They're not looking to win anything. And don't let the flag behind you fool you. I'm not talking crap about Tottenham because I'm a Chelsea fan. I'm talking bad about Tottenham because I've seen this going on there for so long, and so many other people have seen this, right? So let me pull up the Igor Tudor clip of what he said about, is there any ambition at this club? So it's not showing the audio here, but he's basically speaking on, what is there any ambition? Are we serious about actually doing anything? Is there any motivation to actually want to try to stay up in this league? Because if Tottenham go down, I keep on saying they're not going to come back up right away. I truly don't believe that if they go down to the championship, they will run away with it. They're not going to come back up because the big time players are going to want to leave. The players that actually have quality that are there, and with reports and sources saying that Pochettino is basically looking, or Spurs are looking to go to him and bring him back. Do you think he's going to want to coach Tottenham in the championship? This is where it's so perilous for Tottenham, man. I mean, they're losing a major sponsor at the end of this current season. It's crazy because, in my opinion, it's the front of shirt sponsor that's going to be leaving. And you lose the front of shirt sponsor. You're seeing that with Chelsea right now, where they just got a front of shirt sponsor, but we're going on to the third season in a row now, or I believe the fourth season, where we don't have a permanent front of shirt sponsor. And that can be damaging to the marketing of your club. And if you're not consistently in the Champions League, then you're not going to get the big time sponsorships on the front of the shirt. And with Tottenham, yes, they won the Europa League last season, but they had 22 losses in the Premier League. That's relegation for them. I mean, they were fortunate that 3 teams were worse than them last season. You can make the argument that they are one of the 3 worst teams in the league. But on paper, they're not one of the worst 3 teams in the league. Not when you invest the way that they've invested into their club, especially over the past couple seasons. Tottenham are a mess. Tottenham are in huge trouble, and their fixture list is not going to get any kinder for them because there's teams in and around them that are trying to get back in form as well, and there's teams in the relegation zone area that are going to be wanting to get out of it. And are Tottenham going to show up in those games? If they're away from home, they may have a chance, but if they're at the Lane, they're not going to get the result. We've seen it all season. We've seen Chelsea go there and win. We've seen Wolves get there and get a point. We've seen West Ham go there. We saw Arsenal go there. We've seen Man United go there. We've seen teams go there and get results because Tottenham are just so bad at home. So I'm not going to speak about Tottenham anymore. In my opinion, I don't think they get relegated. I think they barely survive. And when I say barely survive, I'm talking about a couple points. But I don't think they're going down. I do think the way that it looks right now with Wolves, Burnley, and West Ham, I think those are the 3 teams that will go down. But it would not surprise me if West Ham find a way to get out of it and Tottenham drop into that relegation zone because of how terrible they have been and how they don't care about the product on the field right now. They only care about getting people in the seats. But if the football on the pitch is not translating, then fans aren't going to want to go to the games, and then they're going to be relying on the concerts, the NFL games, and all that stuff, right? So Tottenham are a mess, and this is why Chelsea need to be very careful because they can go down the same path if the owners and the directors don't have enough ambition to actually want to go win things and go compete. So in the next part of this video, I will segue into Chelsea, just talking about their fixture list coming up and why these 2 games against Leeds and Burnley were just missed opportunities. So Chelsea draw to Burnley at the weekend where they led for 92 minutes. And, they played well the first 3-4 minutes of the game, but it ended up being another performance at home where they drop off, they get complacent. They feel like 1 goal is enough and that's all they need because they're playing Burnley, a team that doesn't really create opportunities or score. But if you watch the game, Burnley were putting in crosses, particularly in the second half, that had so much venom on it. They were devilish crosses that we were having a hard time dealing with. And the goal that they score comes from a set piece of corner. We are one of the worst teams in the league when it comes to defending set pieces. Have you seen our defending with long throws, with basic free kicks outside the box, corner kicks? People are blaming Tosin for the equalizer, but if people are paying attention and people are watching the game, Fleming runs from a deep position where Andre Santos is supposed to be tracking his man. He allows him to run by him, and Tosin is caught basically sleeping because he's not expecting that. Excuse me. And they score. The problem is that, yeah, Tosin has been bad for a majority of this season, but we can't use him as a scapegoat for why the equalizer happened. Andre Santos, the golden boy for Rafinha, was caught slipping. And it happens, right? But you can't allow this to happen in the 92nd minute of a game where you need 3 points, right? And it goes back to like the Leeds game too. You're up 2-0, you're in control of the game, but one mistake at the back where Caicedo is making a challenge that doesn't need to be made, and it leads to momentum for Leeds. They score, they get the second goal 10 minutes later, and Chelsea drop points again. Cole Palmer misses a wide open net at the end of the game, essentially to win it. Liam Delap had a chance at the end of the Burnley game and skied it, just like Palmer. But the difference is that the Liam Delap chance was just woeful. And honestly, you kind of expect that from him this season. Palmer, you're not expecting him to miss an open net from 2 yards out. You're just not expecting it. But to go on to the fixture list for Chelsea in the month of March, right? So we look at the Premier League table. They're fourth in the Premier League. They're above Man United on goal difference as it stands. Man United go to Everton today. 12 o'clock kickoff time out here in the West. 8 p.m. kickoff time in the UK, in Liverpool. You hope that Everton find a way to beat Man United so we stay above them, but with the form Man United have been in, I don't see them losing this game, and I do feel like now we will be 3 points behind them at the start of match week 28, where we travel to Arsenal, and this goes into why being on 49 points instead of 45 points in March is such a big deal. So now Chelsea travel to the Emirates on Sunday to face Arsenal, who are coming off a 4-1 win against Spurs, right? Then we go to Villa. You got Wrexham in the FA Cup. So you have 3 straight away games, 2 in the league, 1 in the cup. Newcastle at home. Everton away, right? So 4 of your next 5 games in the month of March, you're only going to be at the bridge once in terms of the league. Now, we'll see where the Champions League, where that fits in. But if I'm being real, for the next 5 away from the bridge, and the team has a hard time just sustaining a lead and keeping a lead and closing out games, it's going to be very difficult to see where 3 points are going to be coming from in this run of games. If I'm being optimistic and I'm thinking, like, you know what, like, yeah, we had a bad month of February, but I feel like in the month of March we'll for some reason turn on. I can see us going to the Emirates and getting something out of it. I can see us going to Villa Park, where we've gone to Villa Park in the past, over the past couple seasons, really, and actually put in a pretty good performance. We lost last season, unfortunately there, but we beat them 3-0 at the bridge. We went there in the FA Cup the season before that and beat them there. And we wrongfully got a goal disallowed against them in the league with Pochettino. So Chelsea, honestly, man, if they play well, they're consistent for 90 minutes, they can go toe-to-toe with anybody in the league. But it's silly mistakes in the back. It's complacency when we take the lead is why it's going to be an issue for this team to really get games over the line, right? I mean, the month of March is going to be tricky, but the month of April, it doesn't get any easier either. You got Man City, Man United, and Brighton, right? And then to close out the season, you have Forest at home, who are going to be desperate, looking to get as many points as they can to stay in the Premier League. Liverpool at Anfield, which might be a top 4, really a top 4 6-pointer, right? Spurs at the bridge. Could we put Spurs out of their misery and relegate them? That would be insane. And then Sunderland away on the final day, right? This is where Chelsea need to be in a position in May where they're not too far off of being in the top 4, but they're in and around that race, because last season all they needed to do was win away at Forest, and they got the result. I don't want to keep on relying on one game to turn our season around, and then all of a sudden we kick into form and then we snatch a Champions League spot or we win a trophy. I just want to see this team play well for 90 minutes every single weekend and then see where it gets us. We're not going to win every game, but put in the effort and be ruthless for 90 minutes. I want to see that version of Chelsea, right? So the last part of this video, I'm just going to speak on what's been going on in Mexico and how it's going to be affecting the World Cup. So if you got in this far in the video, drop a like, comment, sub if you haven't subbed. If you're here, please drop a like, man. It would mean a lot. So we'll get into the issues in Mexico and why the World Cup is in serious threat. So yesterday, we saw some breaking news about the Mexican drug lord that was killed yesterday in Mexico with a operation with the military down in Mexico along with the United States Special Forces to get this man essentially out of here, right? And I'm trying to be careful with what I say here because it's a very, very, very sketchy situation, touchy situation, and anybody down in Mexico that is being affected by this, my prayers are with you. I hope everyone's families down there is safe, and anybody that's from the United States that is traveling in Mexico or traveling to Mexico, please be careful. Please be alert. Please be aware. Make sure that you are okay. But the reason why this is a big deal is because the World Cup is set to be hosted down in Mexico, 13 cities, right? And a few of the cities are supposed to be hosting the World Cup. How is this supposed to go on with this happening down there? Like, this isn't going to be done overnight. This is going to be going on for a while. And with the tensions within the United States and now the severe tensions in Mexico, Canada cannot be the only country that is suitable to host the World Cup. Like, I'm pulling up this thing here now, right? Let me see if I can find it. Where was it? I'm going to have to go on X real quick. Pull this up. Yeah, it's actually right here. It says 13 matches of the World Cup will be played in Mexico. The Mexican army just killed El Mencho. I hope I didn't butcher the name there. A cartel leader, and now the cartel are on a rampage across Mexico with their own paramilitary troopers. This is nuts. I say we move the World Cup away from the entire continent first. The weather is bad enough on that East Coast, meaning the East Coast of the United States. Now Trump is on a madness. Mexico has exploded. Canada can't do it all alone. Get it moved, LOL. I mean, honestly, bro, you couldn't say it better yourself, but I think the problem is because the competition is 3 months away, 4 months away, it's going to be very difficult to get another country to just say, okay, yeah, sure, like we'll be able to host it. Now, you would have to strip Canada too, and I just feel like, it's just an unfortunate situation that is going on there. I'm not too informed on it because I'm not linked in to that kind of stuff, but if I could just speak on it from a footballing perspective, I hope that it doesn't get moved. I hope that there is a way to still host the World Cup out here in the United States, because I'm not like most Americans. I'm not going to like bash the sport because I love football, soccer too much to say that this country doesn't deserve to host a World Cup. But with the way that the United States has been moving over the past decade, or really over its entire history, if we're being completely honest, this country doesn't deserve to host a World Cup. This country deserves to be in the state that it's in. And yes, Trump is on a madness. Yes, killing a Mexican cartel drug lord like a leader is absolutely insane to do 3 months before a major event is supposed to be taking place in 3 different countries. So, is there a way to get it moved? No. I mean, the tournament is still going to be hosted out here, and there's no hype for the World Cup. That's just the reality. Like, I live out here on the West Coast. There's literally no hype for it. We see the commercials all the time. There's no hype. There's zero hype for it, man. So the U.S. has put itself in this situation because it deserves to be in this situation. The karmic effects of being a despicable country at the end of the day, with how we're moving, with the history that we've had, with the way that it's oppressed people, racially profiled people for no reason, is ridiculous. And it's like I said, I'm praying for everybody that is being affected by this right now, but the World Cup is still going to be hosted in Mexico, the United States, and Canada. There's too much money that's going to be lost if you're looking at it from that perspective, even though they're losing a lot of money just hosting it out here anyway, because I do feel like a lot of the games are going to be postponed, especially on the East Coast because of the weather that can happen out there. But the World Cup is in serious jeopardy of being an absolute failure. And I can't believe that I'm saying this, but I want this World Cup to fail so bad because it just doesn't deserve to go on in the state of how this country is. So with that being said, man, I'm going to get out of here. I got work in about a couple hours. I got to start getting ready for that. But if you liked the video, you got in here this long, drop a like, comment, sub, share the videos, get engaged in the comment section. Check out my other shorts. I do shorts every single day. I try to get up as many as I can throughout the day. But yeah, with that being said, take care of yourself, love your family, love yourself, do what you got to do to make yourself happy. With that being said, I'm out. I'm Jason. No filter Chels, up to Chels. Keep the blue flag flying high. And honestly, man, hopefully we can turn it around soon. I'm Jason. I'm out. Peace out.